Because he wants a toy. I thought it was a kid.
Hey, we're doing Geekpourri. Up next on Geek Out SA. Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream. And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun.
Hello, hello, hello. It's the Friday before Thanksgiving break. For those of us who get like a whole week of Thanksgiving break, which there's a couple of us in this room.
Must be nice.
Right?
Must be nice.
Hey, she and I are going to celebrate. Woo, woo.
At least I get a couple of days off.
Yeah.
Just
Must
Thursday
be
and
nice
Friday.
too.
Oh, well.
Dad, you get Monday off.
It's my normal days off. I don't get
You
holidays
don't
off.
get any special holidays.
Nope.
I just get Thursday and Friday off, so.
I used to when I worked in places like when I worked at a call center before, where I actually worked on Thanksgiving Day, because you would get a shift differential, and not gonna lie, I got out of doing a lot of cooking that way.
I'm still cooking and I gotta work it. But
No,
double time and a half is nice.
It's nice being part of a Mexican family, and then like my mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law and all the aunts and everything, they would just make everything, and then so they would feel bad for me because I had to work, and so they would make all this stuff, and then we just had to show up with our 3 kids and like a plate of deviled eggs, and that was pretty much it. So it's kind of nice.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what Thanksgiving turns out to be like this year. It's going to be different.
Yeah. But we're doing another Geekpourri. This is number 5.
People seem to like this, so that's really great. We tend to get a lot of views with this, and it's good because it's kind of, for me, it's the format that we used to have. So I can go off on my tangents like I do, and then I'm not like off topic, because there is no topic in Geekpourri. It's just like the whole grab bag of everything's just shoved together, but it smells real nice and flowery when you're done.
Gee, smells so nice and flowery. But I think the first thing that we're gonna like tackle is kind of something that I was kind of disappointed in.
You are disappointed in something? You love everything.
and not just. Well, let me get into it.
Okay.
I was disappointed with the entire last season of Supergirl.
Oh yeah, you and me both. It was, I mean, it was just contrived. It was kind of awful. The whole like throwing in the witchcraft at the last minute for like no reason.
I don't know why they needed to do the witchcraft stuff.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. Like, Lena's this amazing scientist. She's great. There was all of these great themes of like girl power throughout the whole series that I really loved, and we had plenty going on with Alex and her, getting married.
Yeah, but they never really like made anything happen with her witchcraft. Not really.
No, not really. That was what
Throughout the entire thing, it was looking like, they were going to build her up, and I would have given to them had they done something with it anywhere throughout the season, but they didn't quite do enough with that.
Well, I really think that
and it
it's
bothered me.
Too late in the series. Here you are in the final season to try to add in a whole new story arc for a character. Like, it's your last season. Let's not try to add in because she doesn't have time to then like practice her witchcraft and get better at it. And so then it was just kind of like a crutch that they used when they couldn't figure out how to explain how the Super Friends like defeated Lex or Mixelplixix or whoever the chick's. I forgot what her name was. I forgot what her name was. It was just like a crutch. It was like, we can't remember exactly what we wanted to do here or how we wanted them to defeat it, and so we'll just throw some magic, and Lena will do some magic. And
there was some really bad writing.
Yeah.
The one thing that I enjoyed was having Lex back, but then they messed his part up too.
I was gonna say, even having Lex back, he was like a whiny Lex. And like this whole like love story thing, and then what was the point of that? And I don't know. I didn't get any of it this season, and I was so sad because I had really enjoyed the series kind of up to the season before this final one was kind of iffy. I was kind of starting to be on the fence with it, and I was really excited that they brought Cat Grant back, and there were some things that they could have just really capitalized on for us and really tied it all back together.
It's like they just gave up.
Yeah.
They just gave up on this season.
Yeah, it was like they maybe had wanted to write like a few more seasons, and then they decided, you know, because the actress who played Supergirl didn't want to do it anymore or couldn't do it anymore, and then they were like, oh, well, crud, we've got to end this sooner than we wanted to, so let's try to throw everything in the grab bag that we wanted and throw it into this last season. So, yeah.
Just do what they did for Batwoman. And switch up the character.
Just put a different actress, right?
Yeah.
I think
when they because of the multiverse, they can do whatever.
I mean, they could have, but I think when it's like, when it's the main character like that, like, okay, they've done it a lot of time with like kids on shows, like on Roseanne, and they switch the Beckys out, and there's been other shows like that you remember where it's like, oh, that was this one kid actor, no, it's this other kid actor. I think that's a little more manageable, but and they explained Batwoman pretty well because it was only one season with her,
right?
And we all just hated her so much. Sorry, but not that I hate Ruby Rose, but she just wasn't good in that role. She wasn't good in that role, and so
well,
I think that was
recently a lot came up with some of the stuff behind the scenes of why she actually left. With that, which was interesting, but even though I still don't think she was a good.
I just don't think she was a good fit for that role.
I don't think she's a good actress.
No, I don't think she's a good actress.
She's a fighter first. At the end of the day, wasn't she MMA?
Was she?
I thought she was an MMA fighter at one point.
I don't know about that. I know she was a model for a while. And then I knew she was in Orange is the New Black, but she wasn't very good in that. And she was in John Wick, but again, she's very static. She's like what's her face? They
have to give her a non-speaking part in John Wick.
She's like Kristen Stewart. Oh dang!
Wow.
That actually takes more acting chops, and she wasn't good at the whole making that believable.
I was thinking Gina Kerr, whatever.
Yeah.
That's who was the fighter.
Yeah. I don't think Ruby Rose was, but she was a model. But
no, you're right.
Kristen Stewart, she kind of reminds me of Kristen Stewart. She just has that one lane that she can be in, and she's in that lane all the time. And it's probably her own personality, so it just doesn't turn into anything.
I really like the new Batwoman.
I know people
I don't think they're getting the views that they thought they were going to get.
And that's a shame because they have a pretty good dynamic. Her and Nightwing, and I just love Mary and Alice. And I love that Mary's getting a bigger part because that little actress who plays Mary, man, she's got acting chops, and she's very believable and likable, but kind of like a whiny brat sometimes too. But you kind of expect her to be a whiny brat. I don't know. She's like a good whiny brat in a way. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So her character, and Alice is so manipulative and just so like underhanded.
To this day, she's still my favorite character.
She's so awesome. She's awesome. So I'm really loving Batwoman, but I can see them trying to bring in this whole like who her mom is kind of thing. And they need to be real careful where they steer towards that, because that's starting to get kind of contrived as well. And it's like, So I was really disappointed with Supergirl because they could have really ended on a high note and really given us some great stuff. And they really didn't. They really, really didn't. And I was
super disappointed in it. And I was like, go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Why not? I know they have like an extended cut on the CW seed or whatever. But I don't even know if I want to like.
I don't even think that an extended cut.
Waste the time to watch it.
No, because I don't think it's going to add anything to it. You know, when you look at Zack Snyder's extended cut, it adds so much to the story on it, but this story was so contrived. There's no addition to it. There's no. They would have had to have add like three or four more seasons in to add enough to this story to make it believable enough that I was able to swallow it.
Yeah.
And I think they tried. I understand that a lot of these shows, and especially geek shows, and they're really good at it sometimes, is, bringing some of these things to the forefront that are political in nature and some of the things that are problems in the current world. And I think they tried to do that too hard in Supergirl.
They did what they did with MASH.
Yeah, they just kind of bash you over the head with it.
They become too preachy, and then it just it's not fun anymore.
Right.
I was like, we're experiencing this right now. Why do we want to hear it?
Right, and we want you to make a stand. We do, because we applaud that, and we want you to make a stand, and we want you to stand up for something. But when you become preachy about it, or it just seems like a really weak way to move the storyline along, it loses a lot of its umph, right? Yeah. And so I felt like that was kind of episode after episode after episode of Supergirl was that. It was just...
Yeah, let me mix witchcraft with science. Okay.
And then let me show everybody how gay we are and how much girl power there is and how much we want to adopt kids and we want to accept everybody the way they are and everybody gets to make their choices and live their true selves and live their true lives. That's all great. And use your pronouns and everything. But all the time, constantly... It was just a lot. It's just a lot.
It's
right?
like in your face, in your face, in your face.
Yeah, it was just a lot. So yeah. So sorry, Supergirl. We loved you. And then, I will say, the only thing that I really did enjoy about it is they really did bring back a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
And we did get to see Supergirl sing one last time because she used to be on Glee. She and the Flash, both of the actor and the actress, were both on Glee before they got to be like superheroes, and so I love to see them sing because they have the chops.
Yeah.
So
it was cool to see Mon-El again.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they're actually married.
They're actually married, yeah. Which is why she quit doing the show, right? So that she could go kind of be a mom and have kind of that family time and stuff, which I totally understand. But I'm sure she didn't drop that on them at the last minute. So you would have thought they would have had more time to prep and write and prepare. And so, yeah.
Maybe they thought, switching a Batwoman was okay, but switching a Supergirl is not okay. I don't know.
I don't think it would have worked.
I think if they wrote it right, it would have worked.
I think they wrote
it right for Batwoman, so...
I think they were struggling with some of the writing, though, that season before this last one, too. So, I don't know if maybe they switched writers or what, but they've been on the struggle bus for a little while, so... And I think sometimes some of these have told the stories that they need to tell, and they need to end. I'm worried that we're getting to that point with Flash as well. I think Flash has just about told the story that it needs to tell, and it needs to end. Because they're kind of telling the same stories over and over again, and they're just kind of butchering it, and we're kind of seeing the same things, and nobody's ever learning any lessons at this point, and it's just kind of getting old.
So Barry needs to learn something.
Barry needs to just die
and move
again, and for good.
Barry needs to either be done as the Flash, or he needs to move on and grow up, and I think they need to move on. I mean, I love watching. I used to love watching it, and I would love there to be more DC shows. But I think this one needs to end, and it needs to move on. And maybe they maybe they do a show with Wally. If they want to give us a Flash show, let's do a show with Wally West. Let's do something different. Let's move on. But I think it's time to move on. I think some of these kind of outlive their usefulness.
Yeah, yep. I could see that.
I mean, like, one of the things, I will say that I like to watch Grey's Anatomy, and I watch it, and I watch it, and I watch it, and that's one that I can watch ad infinitum. But with that, it's in this hospital situation, so there's always different illnesses and stuff, and then there's all these different classes of, like, residents and stuff that are coming through, and people grow up and mature out and leave the hospital, and the residents kind of mature up, and then new kids come in.
But it's still the same story.
It is still the same. It is still the same story. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is the same story over and over and over again. It's kind of like a soap opera though, so I don't know. I kind of like it. I feel like a Geek show kind of has to take a different look at themselves than that kind of show, and I don't know that they can.
Oh, hey, Steve.
Hey.
Steve says, "Hi guys, happy Friday."
Happy Friday, Steve. So yeah, I just don't know if a Geek show can like cycle through that many. Like I think there has to be a cutoff point where they say like we're gonna do this. I mean, I was really sad like when Buffy ended because I felt like Buffy could have gone on for a long time.
Angel.
Yeah.
And Firefly.
There's something. Well, Firefly was really short-lived for what it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was really short-lived. And I think there's something to be said about shows that are set in like a supernatural world because there's so many supernatural things you could bring in. There's like so much you could bring in. But that's what happens to a lot of these comic book type shows is then they start trying to bring in the supernatural and it's just not a great fix. It's not a great mix when they try to write it like that.
There's so much content that they can pull from comics.
Oh, you would think that they would be reading these comics and bringing us all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that.
No.
So then that's where I get disappointed as well, because there's storylines within the comics that they could be bringing us, and we could spend several.
Like the Arrow finish, I think Arrow's the only one that finished like great.
I thought Arrow finished strong. I really liked that, and I was really disappointed that they didn't then give us a spin-off from the future from the kids.
But it looks like we're gonna see her. We're going to see the daughter in Armageddon, which they're doing right now.
Yeah, but I would love to see her get her own show and for them to move forward. Because they had some really great writing. They kept that story alive and kept that viable. But one of the things that I thought Arrow did really well that I don't see as well in some of the other shows, and Flash kind of tries to do this and they do okay sometimes, is giving us a few episodes where we live with the bad guy. And so we get to see their backstory and we get to see what's going on with them and we get to see that kind of web that's tied between the good and the bad and why those connections are made and stuff. And sometimes the writers on Flash do that really well and sometimes they fall short. So
I think the main thing of why the Arrow was so, we saw the duality of the Arrow of how he was in the past.
Yeah, some of those flashbacks and stuff. I liked that as well. Yeah. And I think they try to do that with Barry as far as like we get to see into his future and stuff and we get to see these alternate timelines and stuff. But it just seems like he doesn't have any growth between them. With the Arrow, there's growth, right? And
well, they like fake the growth. He like overcomes it at the end of the season, and then it's like he forgets about it.
Yeah.
What was that lesson I learned? I
What is that? I forgot.
I was on vacation.
It takes him the entire season to learn it.
Yeah, which
and
is
then
frustrating.
He forgets it.
Yeah.
So the writers either need to do something different. Or I don't know.
I don't know. They need to figure something out for the Flash because I think we're just about to the end of that too because they're not getting us there anymore. So yeah. But Vincent and I watch a lot of TV, so that's kind of a thing.
But we also watch movies too.
We do. So we love a good movie, and we still love a theater. Like Vincent and I love a theater.
So we finally got to see Dune.
Oh my god.
So, but before we did, we saw the original.
Oh my god. It was so bad. I had forgotten how awful it was. I don't think I had ever seen it like all the way through.
Yeah.
And so I was like, can we sit down?
I don't think it was awful. I just don't think it was as good as this new rendition.
So I need to read the book
and
because...
in fact, there was even another one that they made before this, didn't they? Didn't they release a Dune before?
I don't know. I just remember the original one with the crazy guy from the, Fire Walks Between Us or whatever that dude. What is his name? Lynch or something?
Oh, well, it's David Lynch.
David Lynch, yeah.
Directed it, but it's Kyle MacLachlan that was the actor.
Yeah, but David Lynch, he's like a little cuckoo bird.
I mean, he did some cool stuff, but it was just...
Well, I would really love to read the book before the second part of the movie comes out, because the movie's in two parts, because this is apparently quite an epic book with quite a deep, rich story to it.
But this is closer to the book than the original one.
I would assume so. I haven't read the book, but I would assume so because
David
this
Lynch
movie
just put on his weird stuff in there to make it disgusting and stuff with the original Dune.
Yeah.
And make it look all trippy and stuff in the original Dune, just because that's the kind of director he is.
Right. And then this new one is this beautiful storytelling. You get much more of the story arc in this new one.
But you still get some of the same story.
You do. You do. It's not like it's not like you can't tell that they're the same story. No. But
you're like, oh, I remember this scene, how it was done in the original. I would be, well, maybe I wouldn't be surprised, but I would think that people should be surprised if Dune doesn't at least get nominated for some awards as far as their costuming goes and the cinematography. Yeah. Because it is amazingly beautiful. It's breathtaking. This is one of those movies. I didn't think I was going to like the kid, and I liked him. Yeah. And I didn't either. But this is one of those movies that's like very much worth seeing in the theater because of the beauty of the cinematography. And you really feel like you're immersed in another world, right? And you're trying to learn about this culture of this other world, and you're on this journey with this young man who like has probably been more sheltered than he needs to be, and he has this potential and these powers, but he doesn't really know how to use them or what they are, and they kind of overtake him. So I don't know, it was just really... You feel it more in this movie than you did the original. You feel it. You feel like you're there with him, right? And you're on that journey with him. It's almost like a never-ending story kind of feeling, where you're there, you're on that journey with them. You're super invested in this, right? And even though you've seen the first one and you know kind of where the storyline is going, still some of the things that happen in it, and you're like, oh, I knew that was happening, but this is just so much more tragic in this one. Like, you know, you see how much he loves his dad, and then how the doctor betrays him and like puts the poison in his mouth and everything, and it's just, it's much more tragic. It's much more, it's almost like a fantasy sci-fi, right? Like a kings and queens and pomp and circumstance and all of these like rituals and things. It's just, I don't know. And it's a long movie. Yeah. So you think, oh, I am not going to be able to sit through this like that. It's done. And it's just the first movie. And it's just the first one. And then Jason Momoa is super great. Like, I know that a lot of women are like, oh, Jason Momoa, he's like so hot and whatever. But he has really good acting chops as well. Like, you believe his angst in this movie. You believe the pain. You believe how much he loves this family and wants to defend them. Right. You believe how much he's learned from being in the desert with these tribes, and like what pride he sees in them because they're warriors like he is at heart. He very much, to me, conveyed all of that in his acting. Yeah. So is he nice to look at? Yeah, that's great and everything, but that doesn't make up for good acting, and he gives us really good acting, in my opinion, because you believe that character. Oh, and then also with the original, Dean Stockwell was in that movie, and he just recently passed away. Oh, I loved him in Quantum Leap. Yeah. He was awesome. Yeah, when we watched it, we were like, oh, look! And we watched it right, like, before he passed, but we were like, oh, that makes us want to watch Quantum Leap. Yeah. Yeah. So, he was kind of a turd in that movie, too. He was not a Talking good... about a show that they should reboot. I'd rewatch some Quantum Leap if they could. The writing back then, that was good stuff. Yeah. There was more storytelling, though, sometimes in my opinion, in the 80s, like, TV shows, because they didn't have all the big budgets and lights and cameras and green screens and all. That would be something that they could, like, keep going way beyond any other show, but I don't know why they stopped. Yeah, I don't know. And on a high note. Yeah. Yeah. That's the way to do it. End while you can. So yeah, and it was still sad because he was still jumping. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never get that resolution that you want. No.
And sometimes, like, as a human being, you want it to be all wrapped up nice with a bow and be, like, sweet and everything. And then when that happens, you're like, oh, well, that was kind of contrived, though, right? Like, life isn't really like that. So, yeah. We saw a couple of other things in the theater. Oh, we saw Venom. We haven't even talked about Venom on the show yet.
Yeah, no, we saw.
Are you whining over there? Did you like it? You didn't like it? No, we didn't like it either. We didn't hate it.
We didn't hate it.
We didn't hate it.
It was as good as the first one.
I didn't like the first one either, though, so I can't say much.
I mean, we don't read Venom, so for us it was good enough. I like the dynamic between him and, you know, the symbiote. You know, that he kind of like gets smacked around by him and stuff.
Yeah.
And I did think that Woody Harrelson was
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. So I thought he was an interesting choice to be Carnage.
Yeah.
But
didn't
he have curly hair in the first one when they show him at the end?
I thought so.
He had like big bushy curly hair.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. They messed up that character for me.
Yeah.
But then you get Toxin at the end of it too, and I'm like, are you really gonna bring out Toxin? Which, no.
You're like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, it's worth a watch just to have something entertaining to watch, but don't go into it like thinking it's gonna be all that great.
Like, I just want them to explain the end credit scene. That's all I want them to explain.
Oh, really? I didn't even like look it up or try to figure out what it was.
Well, it's connecting to No Way Home.
Well, that's
So I just want to know how are you gonna bring in this, and where is it all gonna go?
Who knows?
Well, because they're trying to bring it in because they want to give. He's saying he looks tasty because he wants to be part of Peter.
Yeah.
So we have him with the black suit.
But you haven't connected him to Peter yet. That's the whole problem, because that's how Eddie and Venom hate Peter. So how do you connect it now? There's no connection.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's why I don't like it, because I'm like, there's literally no connection right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see if they bounce back from that or not. So
a month for No Way Home. So
yeah.
That is gonna be. I mean, there is stuff out there left and right, and supposedly Andrew Garfield is in it, but he's saying that he isn't.
Him and Toby are both saying they're not, but they supposedly are.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some stuff on social media about that, so we'll see what happens. I try not to read too much ahead of time for movies because I don't want too much to be spoiled as it is. But the other movie that we saw recently was the new James Bond movie, and now the
No Time to Die?
Thank you. I was like, and the title just left my brain. Of course, when I needed to talk to y'all about it, I can't think or talk. I thought this was a well-written, good ending, end on a high note. Yes.
Yeah.
I was completely surprised by the way they went with that, so I liked that about it, because I was like, no way they're going to go, and they did.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised that all the action that you're always hoping to get, you get. You know, the James Bond, the love story, the attitude. I think it was just quintessential Bond.
Yeah. And
it was a really, really good way to go out on top. I thought that was good writing at its best.
He's played Bond the longest, hasn't he?
Did he?
Sean Connery, I still think beats it.
I was going to say, did he play it longer than Connery? I don't think so.
He played it longer than Connery.
Oh. I don't know. I'd have to see how many movies each of them have in the Bond series. I will say that he is one of my favorite Bonds. Obviously, Sean Connery for me, because that's who I grew up with, and then Roger Moore, and then Daniel Craig. So, sorry. I was trying not to let that yawn. Roger Moore has more.
It says he's been the longest run.
Nice. And I did love Roger Moore, but Sean Connery is, Sean Connery. So Sean Connery is Sean Connery. So what are you gonna do?
But does that include? Is that still the same thing because the Rock. He's James Bond in The Rock.
No, he's not. What?
Yeah. Watch the movie again.
Oh god, now I'm going to because I actually really like that.
I really love that movie too. It's one of my all-time favorites. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorites.
But I think in his last movie as Bond, he makes reference to the one that put him behind bars, Womack.
What?
Yeah, Womack's in there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting because I love The Rock, so that would be interesting. So, and I love those. I grew up with those kinds of movies. Those were kind of prolific when we were growing up, and you and I both love a good spy movie. We love like Red. Both of those Red movies were really good, and we even like silly spy movies. So we were kind of like stoked to see Red Notice because now you've got Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, and Gal Gadot all together in a movie. And now this is just a straight to Netflix. So this one we didn't get to see in the theater. But, you know, I mean, Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson together, like, how can you go wrong, right? And so... And Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds, right? Every time he's, you know, silly, goofy, he's sarcastic, he's got something to say, you know,
Except in Buried.
He's, he has a few other movies where he's not that character, but he plays that character really well, right? Yeah. That's his slot, right? And so he is quintessentially what you would want from Ryan Reynolds in Red Notice.
Yeah.
I very much liked it. I thought it was really fun, really funny. You get some of that, you know, Hulk and Thor kind of humor going on, right? You get Gal Gadot.
I didn't know she was pretty funny too.
Gal Gadot was really funny. I was really surprised. Yeah. I didn't know she was going to be able to pull it off. Because they're thieves, I got a little Dirty Rotten Scoundrel from it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all in all, that was a really good movie. Like if you haven't seen Red Notice, that's one to watch. Like you can just chill on Netflix. You know, it comes with your subscription. It's really, really good. And it was totally worth the watch. So yeah, definitely would encourage you to watch that one. So what else? Oh, well, speaking of Netflix.
Oh, Squid Game.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about Squid Game. Aaron didn't like it.
It was okay. It just, again, the plot twist you see a mile and a half away. If you know what you're watching. If you're watching it.
I missed some things, so I thought I knew the plot twist, and then I thought, no, I'm really wrong about the plot twist, so now I don't know where I'm going with the plot twist, and then I ended up being right about the plot twist, but then they faked me out, and so I thought I wasn't right about the plot twist. So I guess I liked it because of that.
You. Right when it happened.
Oh, you saw it too, like a mile away, or what?
Yeah.
Well, not a mile away.
But he saw when the shooting didn't happen.
See, I got most of it by episode 2. What was going on?
Yeah. Well, you know, it was kind of easy to tell with this old man, right, and stuff like that. But I still thought it was a good story.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Stephen King book that I really enjoy called The Long Walk, where it's like an annual thing, and these boys all walk, and then whoever makes it to the end of the walk basically without getting shot and killed, because if you walk too slow, you get shot and killed. If you stop, you get shot and killed. Like, there's all these things, right? It's kind of that same concept. You're not playing games. You're just they're literally just walking. Mm-hmm. And then you're bored, and you want somebody to like keep you awake at night when you're supposed to be walking and stuff. So you make these kind of like deals with people, and then you start to make these friendships, which is a bad idea when everybody's in a game where there's only going to be one winner and everybody else is dead. So then at the end of the Stephen King book,
but they didn't know there was going to only be one.
They did.
No, not at first.
I mean, what did they think they were gonna Hunger Games it and be like
share,
like PETA
like
and
whoever is at the end gets to share whatever, because they didn't know what the outcome.
I
was
never
gonna be.
got
They
that.
Never explained it to them.
I thought they did. I thought it was pretty clear that there was going to be one winner.
I don't think so.
Mm.
They never actually said that there's going to be one winner.
I thought they did. I don't know. Anyway.
Do you remember that?
Well, anytime
I
there's...
remember the book. I never read that one.
Anytime there's... No, he means in Squid Game.
Oh, in Squid Games? No, they knew there was only going to be one winner.
They knew there was only going to be one winner.
Yeah. Well,
I thought that
no.
wasn't until like the middle of the thing.
No, you're right. They didn't know. They just knew whoever was at the end was going to get the money.
Yes.
That's what you're right.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was until the last like game or two that's when they were like, "Oh crap, there's only going to be one."
Yeah.
When they started playing games to where it was one against one, then you knew.
Yeah.
That
which is like that midway when they think the old man dies. I think that's when they all kind of realize like, "Oh crap, yeah."
Well, and anytime you're playing in a contest where there's only going to be one winner and everybody else is dead, now you've made friends with people, you've gotten to know people, which is a bad idea.
Yeah, and that's why they never did that until that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes it harder to kill him.
Yeah.
See, I guess my main thing is it reminded me, instead of the Stephen King book, it reminded me of a book called Battle Royale that came out in like 2004, I think, which is basically what Squid Games is. It's that book, because it was, but it was basically a bunch of kids that had to go kill each other instead, though, and they did it for population control. They said, but it was really, as you read the book, it's about people placing bets on which kid's gonna win.
Right.
That's what it was.
And there's a lot of stories that are like that. There's a lot of books and stories that are like that have to do with this, this evil 1%er group, right, that uses the rest of us as fodder. And I think we kind of feel that in modern society.
Yeah.
So.
It's like Hunger Games.
It's like Hunger Games, right? There's a lot of them that are like that. Like.
What was the other one? The Deadliest Game or something? It was an old book.
I
can't remember the book's name. Oh well.
But yeah, so some of it, I definitely saw coming, and I figured whoever was going to win in the end was probably not going to end up being very well at the end anyway, right? You're going to be kind of screwed up from winning something like that, and from everybody else having to die.
They played that off, and how he just kind of shunned all his money.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't learn anything.
But he didn't learn anything. That was the thing that made me mad.
Still a terrible father.
He was still a terrible father. He didn't take care of the kid like he was supposed to, the little brother. Finally, he gets there, right? He finally kind of gets to that point. But it was over a year before he got there. And I'm like, look, I know you have PTSD and everything, but you needed to learn the lesson. Like, that's the whole point.
See what happens in the next season.
Yeah. But even then, he was still a crappy father, because he was like, I'm going to go see my daughter on the plane. Oh no, I saw the Squid Game thing. I'm going to come kill all of you somehow, even though you probably will. Never mind. Like, you'll be dead in a heartbeat, dude. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was the only thing that I didn't like. That was the one thing that really irked me. Like, fine, don't use the money or whatever, but learn a lesson, right? Learn to be a better father. Take in the little boy, be a good father to him, be a good father to your daughter, use the money to travel to see her or to go set up a life and live, learn something from it, right? Mm-hmm. Make your life better. You've gone through all of this and so many people have died and suffered for it. Make your life better.
I mean, why not just move to America? They said he would still be worth $30 million or something like that in America.
Yeah. I don't just move to America, take the little boy, adopt him, move to America. Your daughter has a sibling.
Not even adopt him. His mom is still alive in the other country. Why not get the mom out of that country? So that way the boy could have his mom at least. Give them some money and anyway, I'm out. Me and Robert talked about this. I'm out.
You're like, I'm done.
We'll see what happens in the next one.
So for the most part, though, it was good.
Okay,
it was good.
It was still a good show.
I was a little concerned about my middle school kids watching it because there's some pretty adult, nasty nakedness going on in that. Just so if you haven't watched it yet, you might.
Didn't show a whole lot though.
Just one scene really, but a lot of blood.
Scene, yeah.
Well, it's the it's the bathroom scene with the chick, and then there's the nasty 1%er fat man that's trying to get the little cop guy. That's the one that's real disturbing.
But they just allude to it. They don't actually show it.
Well, the dude's naked.
A bullet in his head afterwards, at least.
Yeah. So I don't know, and it's very violent. It's a lot of violence and a lot of violence. It's a lot of violence. So if you haven't watched it yet, just be wary.
And since we know that the old man didn't die at first because we didn't see it, we know that the brother is probably still alive.
Yeah, we know that the cop is still alive.
Yeah, he somehow lived.
Yeah. He's going to wash up somewhere on shore, and he's going to have to, get with the other guy, and they're going to have their little vendetta or whatever, yeah. We'll see what they do with the second season. So you just have a few more minutes, and I know you wanted to talk really quickly video games. We don't play a lot of video games, but we do sometimes go to video game conventions. So there was some pretty big video game convention news that kind of impacts us here in Texas.
So PAX South is no longer a thing anymore. Which I saw this coming.
Which is a shame, though, for our city.
But we can't. Apparently, we can't support that because only the last, I think three PAX Souths only had 3,000 local people come.
Yeah.
That's not enough to support.
But our city needs the revenue from tourists and stuff. I mean, that's kind of what our city depends on. So to have something that's got a big name like that no longer be here, and I don't know enough about the video gaming world to know, maybe what would have drawn people,
exactly
why they don't want to do it. Yeah. Are they getting rid of all the subsidiary PAX, like PAX East and everything, or just PAX South?
Just PAX South. The only thing I think that I think might be an issue here is I know for a fact that PAX wasn't paying anything for the
convention center.
Convention center. They don't need to because they're bringing in people.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, even if it's not a lot of locals,
so maybe
the point
now
being,
the city got wise and say, hey, well, now you're gonna pay. They're like, nah, it's okay. They'll just go somewhere else where they don't have to pay.
Yeah.
And they have other.
I mean, I just hope that this was not a bad choice on our city's part to really take away some income as far as tourists and stuff. But I don't see.
Great, we just didn't support it like we should have.
Well, but I just don't see conventions doing as well post-pandemic as they did pre-pandemic. I think you're going to see them become smaller. And a lot of the kids in our kids' age bracket, these 20-somethings, they don't like to go places. They don't like to leave their houses. They don't want to be in a crowded place. Now that they've lived through a year of a pandemic, they don't want to be around other people. They order their groceries online. They order their food online. Everything gets delivered to them. They watch movies at home. They don't go to the theaters anymore. I don't think our sons leave their house, and most of their friends don't either. They don't leave their homes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have friends, we went and said hi to them and got to meet their baby and stuff outside of their window. They haven't left their home in over a year. And they don't have to.
But there's a way to make it virtual at least, but they still didn't even opt for that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it needed local support. It needed the tourism, though, because that helps the city more than the local ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but without the local support, you don't get that, because what's in it for us?
I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, it's the city that it's in for, not us.
What's in it for the city?
Well, all the
tourism money.
Yeah.
But you don't get that unless you have local support. You're telling me that in San Diego, there's not a bunch of people from San Diego that go to that convention? A lot more than 3,000.
True. I mean, probably true. Well, you have to see what Port SA does then, with all the see if they bring stuff in.
I just don't know if PAX had enough of anything that drew people in this city either. You know what I mean?
But just like with Alamo City Comic Con, they couldn't support that.
Well, that was a management thing.
That was also a management thing. But even then,
don't forget
there wasn't as many people as was said was there.
Yeah.
When you're looking at, I mean, the only one that's doing well was San Japan.
San Japan does really well.
That was just lucky. That was complete luck. Even Dave Hinkins says that.
Yeah.
It was just the right time, the right thing at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just exploded that way. And even though, in comparison to actual big conventions, that's still very small.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been to Gen Con, which is 100 times huger than San Japan.
Huger.
But the reason there's so many people that go to Gen Con is still the Gen Con's still in that niche of it is that one gaming con a year.
Right.
That all the big tabletop gaming companies go to, and they put out new products, and they're there to show off, and you get to play the games, and you get to meet the writers and stuff. And so it's that one big moment to like meet your friends from across the country and play those games. So I think that maybe that's where PAX got it wrong, is maybe trying to have an East and a South and a West. There's too many options for people to go to.
Well, that's another thing that happened here is like that's why Nintendo wasn't coming every year. Because I've already done this.
I've already released this.
I'm already doing my own stuff.
Right.
Same with the Xbox. They eventually left. Yeah. Same with PlayStation.
So we'll see. We'll see what it does to the revenue for the city, but and we'll see how conventions. We're gonna go to Ren Fair, so we won't be here next Friday. We usually take the week off for Thanksgiving anyway, so we're gonna be going to Ren Fair. So we're gonna see kind of how post-pandemic has hit that, because that's something we normally go to.
You may get some videos on that though.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna go to Celtic Christmas. It's my favorite. It's my favorite
weekend.
It's
gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So that's Geekpourri. So thanks for checking this out. Had a lot of fun. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and that's Aaron. He's over there this time.
Geek out, SA.